Hello, Mario! Mario's design process assignment. Tennis ball launcher. Assessment briefing. Hello. Well, in this video, I'm going to go through or run through the design process assignment, tennis ball launcher. Now, you'll notice that it's called the design process assignment. And it's called that for a reason, because the main emphasis of the assignment is to demonstrate your understanding of the design process, because that plays a huge part in your engineering course. All of the things that you do one way or another, sometimes without you even realizing it, are involving the design process. So it's important that you have a good understanding of the process, you know how to use it and how it works, and the various variations on it that can occur. So, yes. Now, okay, so this particular assignment is with regards to a tennis ball launcher. Now, previously, last year I used a self-propelled car, and this year tennis ball launcher, and prior to that I have used gliders and flighted gliders. But I'm hopeful that this tennis ball launcher will give more opportunity for the different disciplines, civil, electrical and mechanical, to show or use their particular skills if they so desire. So let's get on and have a look at the actual assignment, and I'll fill in some of the details as we go. So this is my Moodle dashboard, and the topic or the subject that you're doing, of course, is engineering design and drawing. So we go into there, and well, it's actually opening at the assessment page for some reason. Well, let's just go with that. So and here's the assignment here. Assignment 1, the design process tennis ball launcher. So here it comes up like so, and here we go. So let's have a look. Perhaps we could make this a little bit wider, like so there. Okay, and or perhaps just a little bit less so that my head doesn't get in the way there. Alrighty, so here we go. Engineering design and drawing, MG 5005 1702, second semester. Assignment 1, the design process. Design and build a tennis ball launcher. Now it's due in on Monday the 28th of August. Well, we'll see how that thinks. It involves group presentations, static displays, and demonstration launching will be made during classes of the week starting Monday the 21st of August. So on that week, whenever class is, that's when we will be having our presentations, static displays, and the demonstration launching. Details to be confirmed. Then the reports are to be submitted for assessment by 11:59:59, Monday the 28th of August. Reports must be submitted as a single PDF document. Now, I'm going to be quite firm on this, because sometimes people have submitted multiple documents in different formats, and it's taken me a considerable period of time to put them together into a format that I can actually mark them. So what I will be doing is assignments that are not in the correct format will be returned, or I will arrange a suitable time where I will show you how you can put them into a suitable format. But take the time to find out how to do this. Imagine that I am your client, or that you are the client. If someone sent you a report in 6 different formats and 5 different files, how impressed would you be? So think of it from the other side of things. Okay, so it's a single PDF document. I'm sure you'll hear me say that a number of times. Now, the learning outcomes. Describe the stages of the design process. So this is all about the design process. Focus on the design process. You're demonstrating how you understand the design process by using this particular example or assessment. So you must apply the principles, standards and techniques of design and drawing used in engineering concepts. So we want to, this is a vehicle for you to show your sketching skills, your understanding of some of the resources that I've provided on sketching. Clear graphical communication is a key skill for good engineers. Something that needs to be practiced and perfected. This assignment gives you that opportunity. Use models and drawings to meet given briefs and communicate outcomes of solutions. So that's communication, that graphical. So that's why we've got presentations, we've got static displays, and an actual demonstration of launching. So you need to get all of those, keep good solid records of what you do, be it digital plans, copies of sketches, videos, and that sort of thing, all put together so that you can present a really good overview of your project, your tennis ball launcher. Now this is worth 20% of your total mark. Now the aim of the assessment is to research the design process, and I've provided a minimum of resources there for you to look at. I would suggest you look further afield. There are many different design process, details on the design process, but essentially they were all the same. It's just some of the steps in the process are named differently in different situations, but choose something quite simple and just follow it through and show how you've followed it and how it relates to the practical work that what you've done. To use the design of a tennis ball launcher to provide evidence of an understanding of the design process and the application of the design process to a particular situation. So again, the emphasis is on the design process. To follow and record the progress of a project through the design process and present the findings to an audience of peers. So there's that presentation in there. These are all skills that you will need as an engineer going forward. So that's why we're incorporating them here. The objective: to use the design process to design, develop, build and demonstrate a tennis ball launcher. All right. Now the task, we've got to put some rules around this. There's always rules and standards and parameters and things that you have to meet or comply with. In groups of one or up to 4 people, use the design process and build a tennis ball launcher. Now, I am aware that there are some people who find group work not to their liking. They would prefer not to work in groups. So I am going to allow groups of one. You can do your own project. However, you must bear this in mind. I will still expect you to do the same amount of work as if you had a group of 4 people. Okay? One of the reasons why we work in teams is so that we can share the load and each person doesn't have to do as much work. So my expectation for this assessment, or I have designed this assessment, so that it is a team situation, so that there is more work than I would expect one person to do. And so if you choose to do it on your own, you're going to have to do a lot more work than 4 individual people. So by all means, if you wish to work on your own, that's fine, but bear in mind that the expectation is that you will still produce or have to do the same amount of work as 4 people to get the same marks. So I want to make that very clear. So I am not saying that you have to work in a group. You can be a group of 1 or 2 or 3. The groups will be self-selected. So you will form your own groups. I will not form the groups up. It's up to you to form your own groups and work with people who you believe have the same values and attitudes as yourself, or that you could work with. So form your groups carefully and let me know who they are, and we'll get that all recorded. Okay, rule number 1. The launcher must be portable and capable of being assembled at different locations. So it does need to be able to be taken down and moved. So we can't have something that's on the back of a truck and requires a forklift to put it in place. It must be quite portable, by one or the team of people. Now, all materials will be sourced by students. This is part of the challenge. Part of the challenge is to source the materials, to find the materials as cheaply as possible, or using your resources. So all material will be sourced by students. You will have to find the materials you're going to use. So you may well have to fit the materials to your budget or to what you have available. These are all part of the challenge. It's the same challenge for everyone. So it's an even playing field. Some of you may have some resources or networks and things like that result from past experiences or acquaintances or things like that. That's fine. That's how things work in the natural world. So why wouldn't it work here? So all materials will be sourced by students. However, if you have a request for some materials, I may be able to help you. Other students may be able to help you. I can circulate your requests to other people in the class. We may be able to share things. Let's be realistic about this. So, yes, all materials to be sourced by students. For safety reasons, solutions using ballistic or combustible materials are not permitted. So no gunpowder, hairspray, alcohol, petrol, gas, like explosive gases or that sort of thing are to be used for launching the tennis ball. For safety reasons, all solutions must be approved by the tutor before the competition. So if you have a particular solution that might be a wee bit dangerous, let me know. We can discuss and talk about it. I have some concerns about compressed air or pumped air held in sort of plastic pipes and things like that. So we need to just be a wee bit careful around those and make sure there's some elements of safety implied in them. All launchers must be disarmed until they are ready to launch. So we don't want tennis ball launchers with hair triggers sort of being in a situation where they could go off and seriously hurt someone. All launchers must be set off or triggered from a distance at least 3 meters away from the launcher. So you can't be there holding the launcher down or, pulling things very close to moving parts. So you must be 3 meters away, and you can trigger or set off the launcher, by pulling a piece of string or clicking a switch or however you're going to do it. But you must be at least 3 meters away from the launcher. So that means there can be no human contact with the launcher. Triggering must be to the side of the launcher, not the rear or front. So in the front of the launcher, the ball will be heading out. Things will generally be maybe flying in that direction, and at the rear. So the triggering to the side. There must be no human contact with the launcher at the time of launching. So you can't be holding it down or using your weight or any of your human power. A tennis ball provided by the tutor must be used on the day of competition. So it will be a standard tennis ball provided by the tutor. So you can't doctor a tennis ball or fill it up with lead or change the characteristics of it so that it flies better, that sort of thing. So it's the same tennis ball for all. You may purchase materials. However, a record of material costs must be kept. So if you do purchase materials, you need to keep a record of the costs. You'll see why later. Each team will be allowed to launch 3 times. So your distance achieved will be the best of 3. Okay, if you so desire. So that's a maximum of 3, a minimum of 1. Participants must wear safety glasses and hard hats at the time of launching. Okay, that's the ones that are each team. The team that launches the tennis ball the furthest wins the furthest launch competition. Pretty obvious there, really. And the team that makes the most effective launcher, so that's the dollars, the dollar cost divided by the number of meters launched, wins the most cost-effective launcher competition. So if your launcher has 0 cost, divided by the meters, it'll just be on meters. So obviously infinity will not win in this situation, not dividing something by 0. The other way, yes. Wins the most cost-effective launcher competition. And the team judged to have the best static display by their peers wins the best static display competition. So there will be a static display competition. Right, assessment. A group presentation, including a static display and demonstration run, will be made to the class. The design report will be presented to the tutor for evaluation according to the marking schedule. Notes. It is expected that the report will follow a recognised report format. Now, this is stuff that you should have done in your communication classes for technical literacy and what have you. But if you are having problems with that, certainly come and see me. Be a single digital PDF document, neat and tidy, include sketches or plans of ideas and sketches of plans of the final design from which the tennis ball launcher will be constructed. Documentation, agendas and minutes of the at least 2 design meetings will be required. And there's a link there to various meeting resources that might help in that regard. These need not be in depth, this is the meetings, and need only to cover the date and time of the meeting, the purpose of the meeting, people at the meeting, assigned actions, items discussed, decisions made, and cost of materials. Obviously, if you're a team of 1, your meetings will be very interesting, but I'm sure that you can devise a way of recording similar information that would meet the required criteria. Something along those lines must be recorded. If need be, you can invite me to your meeting so that you have a second person there. Okay, now here is one sort of representation of the design process, okay, that you might want to follow. There are many, so you choose your own, but first of all there's the brief where you sort of define the problem. Next is some research. Do some research, see what other people have done in the past, reference your research and what have you. Concepts, come up with some concepts. At least 3 concepts are required, and then you'll go through the concepts and then go through a process as to why you chose to go forward with one of the particular concepts. Then you will develop the concept and that through to a final solution where you'll do various test runs and tweaking until finally you get what you want. Now you may go back through these steps, you may get to the final solution and decide that you're not happy with that and develop another concept or do further development. So there are many ways and pathways through the design process. And it's sometimes quite important that you need to, just put a few bits and pieces together physically before you realise some shortcomings and then go back and do some changes and things like that. But all of these must be recorded as part of your report. So any changes to drawings, changes to ideas should all be recorded. And there's many ways of recording them. They can be written, video, photographs, diagrams. And where possible, the diagrams, you should try to have the diagrams on a nice formatted sort of notepad or something like that that's nice and concise, because this is stuff that's going to your client. So that's one version of the design process. There are many. I suggest that you clearly define what the names of the steps of your particular design process before you start, and then follow through that very carefully with your process. Now here's the marking schedule. Each of these give you indications as to what is required. Okay, so research is thorough and appropriately referenced, so that's referring to the steps of the design process are clearly identified and followed. Okay, so this would be in your report. A minimum of 3 design concepts are evaluated and considered. Each group member has named and submitted at least one design concept. So, yes, each person should come up with one concept. There is clear evidence of concept development and appropriate sketches. The reason for your choice of the final idea, the reasons for your choice of the final ideas are clearly presented. The development of the final idea is described in accordance with the design process and accompanied by appropriate sketches, models, or other media. The final design is clearly planned and in accordance with the documented design. Design variations are clearly documented. Sketches are clear, ordered, and appropriately labelled with a consistent format in a template or plan form. So not just on a piece of A4 paper, you need to have a plan form with a little, so that you can put the date and approximate scale and that sort of thing on them, so that it keeps it in a nice format. If you're unsure what's required there, ask. Final designs and sketches are up to date and match the final product. So the actual thing that you take to the competition must actually be the same as what your plans say. The tennis ball launcher is well constructed. The tennis ball launcher is pleasing to the eye and looks professionally built. Okay, so ranking based on distance. You'd be ranked 1 to 5. So the top rank will get 10 mark, a 10. The next rank 8. So if you're ranked first, you'll get a 10 out of 10. You're ranked fourth, sort of second, you may be 8, and so on. So that'll be worked that way. Ranking based on cost effectiveness, dollars per meter, again, something like that, and the ranking of the static display on public vote. So these will all depend on your scores. So there's sort of a band of 5 there. So 1 to 4 maybe will be the fifth, fourth, third, different rankings there. The presentation to the class showed planning and practice. That's important. All group members participated in the presentation to the class, so that's there. So where there's a group of 1, that's not a problem. The report is well planned, professional, and well presented. There are clear and accurate records of design meetings in the report, an accurate record of the cost of materials purchased. The report shows evidence of having been proofread, and a team scoring sheet, 1 per team member. No marks are awarded for a team member who does not complete and submit a sheet. So here we are, here's the team scoring sheet here. So each person completes one of those for each member in their team. So this is to be submitted separately, as obviously it's a confidential document, and this is a way of keeping a track of how the teams are performing and what other team members are thinking. So the idea is to give constructive criticism, if it's needed, of other team members. So, and the areas that we comment on are attendance, timeliness, completion of tasks, leadership, participation, helpfulness, volunteering, empathy with others, strengths and weaknesses, and humour, whether they're good humoured or what have you. So for each team member, you score them out of 10, and then and perhaps a comment there that you would like to feel it would be helpful for them going forward, and then that is emailed to me. Now, if you don't submit a sheet at all, you don't get any marks. If you submit a sheet, then you get the average of the marks submitted by the other members of your team. Obviously, if you're the only person in the team to submit a sheet, you will get full marks. So, and if you're a team of one, I doubt that you would not score yourself full marks, but you may do that if you so wish and make a comment. But there you go. All right, so that brings us pretty much to the end of the briefing for the tennis ball launcher. The thing to remember here is that this assignment is a vehicle for you to showcase your talents and your understanding of the engineering design process. It's all about the process and providing the evidence that you have a good practical understanding of the process and that you can put it into practice in a particular situation. So, wishing you all the best with your project. Looking forward to your reports. Cheers! See you!